Do you want to know why 95% of businesses never reach their full potential? Well, it's because they're playing by old rules. I've spent 2 decades studying successful companies, and let me tell you, the real money isn't made by following conventional wisdom. Today, I'm sharing the underground strategies that top performers don't want you to know. We're diving deep into the business growth secrets they don't teach in MBA programs. After consulting with over 500 companies and helping writing 7 books on wealth creation, I've discovered that explosive growth often comes from the most unexpected places. That's why today I'll take you to secret business growth tips and tricks for boosting your profits. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our video updates. Plus, it helps us spread the Thrive Wise love to help more people thrive wisely. Now, let's begin. Here's the reality most entrepreneurs face. You're working crazy hours and following all the standard advice, such as social media presence, customer service, and competitive pricing. But your growth is still hitting a plateau. Sound familiar? The problem isn't your effort, it's that you're focusing on the wrong things. Traditional business education has conditioned us to think linearly about growth. They tell you increase marketing spend by X to get Y new customers. But that's like trying to win a Formula 1 race just by pressing the gas pedal harder. Let me break down the 3 major challenges holding most businesses back. First, there's the visibility paradox. You're probably spending thousands on marketing, but competing with millions of others doing exactly the same thing. It's like shouting in a stadium where everyone else is shouting too. No wonder your message isn't getting through. Second, we've got what I call the efficiency trap. You're optimizing everything to death, cutting costs, streamlining processes, but your profits aren't reflecting these efforts. That's because efficiency alone doesn't drive growth. It just maintains the status quo. And finally, there's the biggest killer of all, the innovation ceiling. You're so busy running your daily operations that you can't step back to spot the game-changing opportunities right in front of you. It's like having a treasure map, but being too busy mopping the floor to follow it. The real kicker? Most entrepreneurs don't even realize they're stuck in these patterns. They're too busy following best practices that worked 5 years ago but are now as outdated as a flip phone. And the few who do have access to cutting-edge strategies, they're keeping them close to their chest. So why don't we dive into these game-changing strategies that most business gurus won't tell you about? And trust me, I've seen these work across industries, from tiny startups to billion-dollar corporations. Let's start things off with tip number 1, the reverse scarcity method. You know how everyone tells you to create scarcity? Well, flip that on its head. I call this strategic abundance, and it's like being the only person giving out water at a hot yoga convention. Here's the twist. Instead of limiting access to your product or service, you flood one specific aspect while maintaining premium pricing on your core offering. Let me give you a real example. A client of mine runs a high-end consulting firm. Instead of hoarding their basic frameworks, they gave them away for free on TikTok. Sounds crazy, right? Their competitors thought they were committing business suicide. But here's what happened. Their perceived value skyrocketed. People thought, if this is what they're giving away for free, imagine what their paid stuff is like. Revenue jumped 340% in 6 months. And here's a fun fact. Tesla did something similar by open sourcing their patents. And last time I checked, they're not exactly hurting for profits. Tip number 2, the competitor alliance technique. This one's like dating your ex's best friend. Controversial, but incredibly effective when done right. Instead of viewing competitors as enemies, turn them into your greatest asset. But here's the secret sauce. Don't just partner with them. Actually help them succeed in areas you don't want to dominate. A restaurant owner I worked with implemented this beautifully. Instead of fighting with nearby restaurants, they created a local food tour experience featuring their competitors' best dishes alongside their own. Plot twist, their revenue increased by 85%, and they barely spent a dime on marketing. The whole neighborhood became a food destination, and they positioned themselves as the curator of excellence. It's like being the Nick Fury of your industry, assembling the Avengers instead of trying to be every superhero yourself. Tip number 3, the intentional friction framework. Now, this one's controversial. It's like telling a fitness influencer to promote cake. Everyone preaches making things easier for customers, but strategic friction can actually boost perceived value and customer loyalty. I'm not talking about being difficult. I'm talking about creating meaningful engagement points. Picture this. A software company I advised was losing customers to cheaper alternatives. Instead of simplifying their onboarding, they actually added a 30-minute mandatory strategy call. Crazy, right? Their churn rate dropped by 60% because customers felt more invested and better understood the value. It's like IKEA making you build your own furniture. You value it more because you put in the effort. Tip number 4, the microscopic domination strategy. Forget trying to be everything to everyone. That's like trying to be the best person at a party by doing the chicken dance and discussing quantum physics simultaneously. Instead, become pathologically obsessed with dominating a microscopically small niche. One of my clients sold generic office supplies but couldn't compete with Amazon. So we niched down to selling exclusively to left-handed architects. Sounds ridiculous? Well, their profits tripled in a year. They became the go-to experts in a field nobody else knew existed. They're now expanding into right-handed architects, but only after absolutely owning their micro niche. According to recent market research, businesses that dominate ultra-specific niches see 47% higher profit margins than their generalist competitors. Tip number 5, the anti-innovation innovation. Here's the mind bender. Sometimes the most innovative thing you can do is deliberately choose not to innovate. I call this strategic regression. It's like being the only person selling candlelight dinners in a world obsessed with LED everything. Here's a case study. A tech company I work with was struggling to stand out in the AI chatbot customer service space. Instead of adding more features, they switched to having real humans answer every call within 3 rings. No automation. Their slogan? We're proudly stuck in 1995. Their costs went up, but their prices tripled, and customers loved it. Get this, their customer satisfaction scores hit 98%, and their retention rate is now higher than Netflix's. And here's the kicker. Research shows that 73% of consumers are willing to pay more for products and services that offer a nostalgic or traditional experience. It's like selling vinyl records in a Spotify world. Sometimes going backwards is the best way to move forward. Now, here's the absolute game changer. The strategy that's helped my clients generate over $100 million in additional revenue. I call it the ecosystem inversion principle, and it's completely transformed how successful businesses think about growth. Here's the bombshell. Stop selling products or services. Instead, sell the ecosystem of transformation around them. This isn't just a strategy. It's a complete paradigm shift that's hiding in plain sight. Let me blow your mind with this example. A small gym owner I worked with was struggling to compete with big fitness chains. Instead of just selling gym memberships, they inverted their entire business model. They started selling transformation documentation, professional photos, progress tracking, and success story videos of their clients' journeys. The gym membership? They practically gave that away. And here's a plot twist. Their revenue exploded by 780% in 1 year. Why? Because while every other gym was selling access to equipment, they were selling their clients the ability to become fitness influencers. They turned their customers into micro celebrities. And guess what? People will pay exponentially more to become the star of their own transformation story than they will for access to some dumbbells. This principle works in any industry. A coffee shop owner applied this by selling home barista transformation packages instead of just coffee. A software company stopped selling their project management tool and started selling digital transformation case studies featuring their clients. And the data backs this up. Companies implementing ecosystem inversion see an average of 340% higher customer lifetime value and 89% lower marketing costs. Why? Because they're not just selling a solution. They're selling the story, the journey, and the transformation their customers become part of. From the reverse scarcity method to strategic regression, these unconventional strategies aren't just theories. They are battle-tested growth weapons. But remember, the real power comes from combining them with the ecosystem inversion principle to create an unstoppable business growth engine. Also, what's the most unconventional business strategy that's actually worked for you? Share your crazy success stories in the comments below. The weirder, the better. And well, that's basically secret business growth tips and tricks for boosting your profits. And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And hey, it seems that YouTube thinks that the next video can completely transform your financial situation. Watch it to find out whether they're correct. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button to see more videos on how to thrive wisely. Till next time.